$35, 4 drivers, and a dial that actually does something. This is either the most interesting budget IEMs I've reviewed this year or a very convincing trick. Welcome to Personal Hi-Fi Audio. Today we are looking at Oopus X OP22, a quad driver hybrid IEM sitting at $34.99 and one of the most interesting budget releases I've come across in a while. Oopus X is a newer brand built around one idea, that exceptional sound shouldn't just be heard, it should be felt. Huge thanks to Sengen Audio for sending this unit for review. As always, this is my honest, unbiased opinion and not a paid or sponsored video. Let's dig in. First impressions. The OP22 does not look like a $35 IEM. It comes in what Oupus X calls a midnight black finish, a deep, matte-like texture applied over their signature mech-inspired lines. It feels premium and honestly looks as at home in a boardroom as it does on a commute. Fingerprints don't really stick, and it doesn't feel like it'll scuffle easily. The shells are shaped using an ergonomical profile pulled from a large database of ear scans. They fit well and are comfortable for long listening sessions. The nozzle uses a stepped design, creating a more stable seal that resists slipping, and it ensures the sound is delivered accurately to your eardrum. Inside the OP22, you've got 2 dynamic drivers handling the low end and 2 custom-tuned balance armature drivers taking care of the mids and highs. The dynamic drivers use a carbon fiber dome composite diaphragm mounted on a silicone suspension. The carbon dome gives rigidity and fast transient response, while the silicone suspension controls resonance, which is how you get powerful bass without the mud and bloat you often hear in budget IEMs. The balance armatures are fine-tuned through an electronic crossover to smooth out the high-frequency response and eliminate the tinny or metallic quality you sometimes get with cheaper balance armature implementations. The included cable is high-purity, oxygen-free copper with silver plating, and it punches above its price point. The cable has almost no memory effect. It drapes naturally, doesn't coil back on itself, and just stays out of the way. It uses a 2-pin connector and importantly comes with interchangeable termination plugs. In the box, you get the IEMs themselves, the cable, 6 pairs of ear tips in various sizes, a user manual, and a brand card. It is clean and functional, nothing excessive, nothing missing. The ear tip selection is genuinely useful. I'd recommend trying a few pairs to dial in the fit before you form a final sonic opinion. Now, the part you're actually here for. And before I break this down, I want to mention the tuning dial, because it changes the conversation. On the faceplate, there is a physical dial with 2 positions. The outlined circle mode gives you a balanced, reference learning sound, smooth, wide, controlled. The filled circle mode is the bass forward setting, warmer, more impact, more body. Here's what I'll say up front. Unlike most tuning switches I've tried, this one actually makes a noticeable difference. You can switch between them without removing the IEM, which is both practical and honestly just fun. In the outline circle mode, the bass is smooth and controlled. Mid bass is tidy, sub bass extension is present but doesn't dominate. It's the kind of bass that gives you a foundation without ever stepping on the mids. In the filled circle mode, the sub bass has a satisfying rumble to it and the overall presentation gets warmer. Let me be clear though, this is not a bass head IEM. You won't get a heavy slam here. What you'd get is bass that's tuned right, textured, intentional, musical. The mid-range is warm and smooth. Vocals carry adequate body without sounding thin or recessed. And instruments come across as natural rather than hyper-colored. For the price, this is one of the better mid-range performances I've heard. It makes music feel alive. The one caveat, micro-detail retrieval isn't a strong suit. This is an IEM that prioritizes the feel of the music over the forensic analysis of it. The treble has air and shimmer without harshness, which is harder to achieve than it sounds. This isn't an analytical precise IEM, but treble resolution is solid for the price. Note that on certain tracks, particularly in fill circle mode, there can be occasional sibilance. It's not a deal breaker, but it's worth knowing if you are sibilance sensitive. The soundstage is wider than you'd expect at this price. Solid left-right separation with a convincing sense of space. Depth is more modest, but the width more than compensates. Imaging is great for the price. The 4-driver configuration gives each element of a mix its own defined position in the sound field. I wasn't expecting anything holographic at $35. Instruments stay in place across a song and panning moves fluid without weird jumps. The OP22 performs convincingly on a single axis. For casual gaming or immersive music listening, it does the job well. If you listen to pop, R&B, hip-hop, electronic or cinematic soundtracks, this IEM will consistently outperform its price tag. The warm, musical signature with that flexible bass style makes it genuinely enjoyable daily driver. It is also a strong pick for casual gaming, wide stage, solid imaging, comfortable for long sessions. If you are a detail hunting, analytical listener who wants to dissect a recording, the OP22 isn't optimized for that. This IEM is about musicality over technicality, macro details over micro. It wants you to enjoy music, not audit it. At $34.99, the Oupus X OP22 makes a very compelling case for itself. I'll drop a link in the description. As always, if you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe for more honest IEM reviews. I'll catch you in the next one.